Hey gang, Nathan, trans midwife here. I'm just going to do a video about the Covid-19 response down here in East Sussex, all of the changes and the things that we've been kind of putting in place and doing measures to protect people, to protect staff, and try and help flatten this curve. So it it started with the isolation rules. So, you know, if any symptoms and you live alone, 1 week at home, any symptoms in the family, 2 weeks isolation at home. And obviously that affected staffing levels, but my manager said not as much as they were worried that it would, because we found that it really does move slowly through the team rather than everyone going off at once, so that's been okay. There has obviously been more work to cover, but we've kind of managed just about. And then what else? So something big that changed nationally was all the students and what they deemed non-essential workers were pulled out of the service. And student midwives do a huge amount of work. They're very helpful. Um, they make days so much better. They bring a lot of positivity and love and passion to the service, so it does feel emptier, quieter without them, and just sort of lower mood. And yeah, so that was a big loss, and I'm still feeling that now because they're not back yet, and we don't know when that will change. I know that some of them, they're trying to, especially with the third years, trying to rush them into being able to work in some capacity in order to increase the number of staff that we do have. Um, so we're still waiting on news about that. And what else have we done in East Sussex? So we've changed as much as we possibly can to be over the phone. So with our primiparis women, so first time mothers, and other people, we are doing a booking appointment over the phone. We are doing our 16-week check over the phone. And then for, as I say, first time mums, we're doing their 24 and their 31-week appointments on the phone. And then the rest of the appointments at the normal times are still face to face. This has been very cleverly and carefully designed. It is not it is it's not at random. It was taken from big documents of guidelines coming from the Royal College of Midwives, the um, Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. So, very carefully chosen which appointments were appropriate for over the phone and which, need to stay face to face. Then when we do see people antenatally face to face, we are in full PPE gear now. So that was something that took a while to come in because at first we didn't have any PPE. So that's our masks and gloves and aprons and things. It took them a while to get all that sorted for us, but that, I know a lot of people felt very angry about that. I didn't so much, possibly because I was living away from my family, so I wasn't under the stress of bringing it back to my family. But also I'm aware that this hit us very fast, and they have now got the PPE stock that we needed, and it's being ordered in massive bulk, and it's coming, and maternity has the stock now, so that's good. So we wear full PPE seeing our pregnant people, and then um, when they go to the unit to have the baby, at the moment, um, on the antenatal and postnatal wards, unfortunately, they can't have any visitors or any partners with them. But during labour, and if they're having a caesarean section during the birth of the baby, they can have one person with them. And of course, that's caused a huge amount of worry, anxiety, sadness, plans plans that people have been stripped back or stripped away from them, and you know that it really does upset us as midwives who are very, you know, advocating for women and people's needs and wants, and that's our whole job, and we can't give them those choices at the moment. Most clients are very, very understanding, or they even agree, or they're asking us to do more phone calls. We're like, no, we really need to see you because we need to do this, that, and the other. And like, all right, you know. Some are not so understanding and feeling very upset and angry, and I get it. You know, hey, they had all these plans and it's all been changed, and I think all of us are pretty angry about this stupid virus that's ruining everything. So then moving on to postnatal care, what we're doing at the moment is they're coming home from the hospital, and the day after they get home, normally we would go visit them, but at the moment we're doing a phone call for most women and people. We're doing the first contact is a phone call, and then we need to see them on day 5 because the baby must be weighed and have the heel prick test if the parents want that. So we are still, for a lot of women, going into the homes, but before there was this, it was almost like law, it was a policy anyway, that we would see every family at home at least once. But that has actually been lifted now, and it's sort of down to the midwives' professional judgment whether they think that it's important for us to see the home. And that is tricky, and that's, you know, that's a lot of responsibility, and also it requires judgment. It sort of requires discrimination in a way, to choose who you think needs to be seen at home and who doesn't. It's been hard. I think we're seeing most people at home. It's kind of the women that, you know, you might know really well. Maybe the health visitor's been to the house and they know that they're all right, you know, those kinds of things. But yeah, so we're seeing them face to face day 5, whether that's at home or in our little unit. And finally, sort of doing a phone call day 10 to see if the health visitors have been in or around, or if they're planning to go in around day 10 to 14 to do a wait. And if they are, we can discharge over the phone. So that's really different. And obviously the lack of contact, you know, and I'm actually really missing touching the babies, which I never thought that I would, because that's not why I'm a midwife, to cuddle babies. But babies are just so pure, and they just give so much life and energy when you give them a hug. And yeah, I'm just really trying not to touch them at all. And that's been hard. I miss that. Yeah, so there's that. And then oh, the big thing, of course, is that we moved offices. So, oh, that's the thing about birth. So we had to stop all um, birth outside of our doctor-led unit. So now all of our patients and clients having to come to our obstetric-led, the main hospital, to have their babies, no matter their risk factors or whatever. So we've stopped all home birth and all birth centre birth, and it's because the ambulance service contacted us and basically said, we cannot guarantee you backup. And of course, now, you know, I don't know the rates, 95% of the time, it's gonna go beautifully at a home birth, and we're not gonna need an ambulance. However, part of that package is that we are able to move people if we need to. We're able to move them to the hospital, to the doctors. That is what we should be able to guarantee. And at this moment in time, that can't be guaranteed. The ambulance service has said, listen, we cannot guarantee we can back you up out in the community, or, you know, at the birth centre. And that is why we had to say, well, then it's not safe. So that's been stopped, which is really hard for all of my clients who were planning that, you know, and we're all having to counsel people about that. And we miss it as well as midwives. You know, we love all that and we miss it terribly. So now that that's changed, we've now been given a new set of offices downstairs, and so we've actually moved out of our birth centre where we normally work and down into this different corridor in outpatients. And so where our birth pool is and everything, and they've done that because they need the birth center corridor for COVID patients. So they're turning it into a COVID ward, and the reason they've done that is because ours has single rooms with bathrooms, so they'd be able to isolate people properly in there. So the room with our birth pool in, there's going to be some patients in there on ventilators or whatever. So that's a bit weird. But the new offices are nice. They're nice big, got nice big clinical spaces, and it was just the transition period that was really hard with all the stuff, and some people cope with change better than others, let's say. Um, but we've moved now and we're settled and just about, and we've kind of got used to the new way of working with all the phone calls, and you know, we're missing our job the way that we like to do it and the choices we like to offer people and all this. But we're getting through and we're pulling together as a team and adjusting as fast as we can. We've been given laptops now, which is great. We can do the idea is we can do work kind of further away from each other or work from home or what have you. So yeah, yeah. I think that's about it with all the sort of changes and everything. Hmm. Can't wait for it to be over. It will be over eventually, I promise. Stay safe.